What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling? Daily Go Getimism Show, Thursday night. Throwback Thursday. Let's get real about relationships Thursday. And tonight on the Daily Go Getimism Show, we are talking about being there for somebody in the right way. Being there for somebody. What does being... Make sure we straight here. Okay. What does being there for somebody really mean? It can mean different things for different people. It can mean different things to different people. But tonight we're going to find out what it means to you. What does it mean to be there for somebody? Everybody needs somebody to be there for them at some point. It's just support. But all support ain't the same. The support that you give out and the support that you receive. But when I say that all support isn't the same, that can be because all support doesn't look the same. It doesn't feel the same. Hold on. Are we there? I'm on the wrong page. I'm just over here tripping. We good? We good? 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 Hit that like button. Good? Good? Gary Wright. Uh, uh. Dave Figueroa. Marvina. Dimples D's. Carla. Daily Go Get 'Em is your. Urban Therapy with Sun 752 with this your daily. It's the Daily Go Get 'Em Ism Show. You think it ain't when it is? You think it won't when it wins? We are here and we are in motion. We do this thing, taking off fast lane, no coasting, and everything is gonna be all right. We talking about being there for somebody in the right way tonight. How do you know when you really are there for somebody? A lot of times you may say that you're there for somebody, and maybe on a personal level, you mean it. And maybe you reinforce that and you come through and you follow through. But does everybody do that for you? Do the people who claim that they will be there for you or that have been there for you know what you need in order to feel like you've been covered? There are a lot of different ways to be there for somebody. Positive and negative. Now you might think, well, how can being there for somebody be negative? Well, we're going to get into all that. We're going to cover all that. We're going to talk about all of that. But what I need y'all to do right now is I need y'all to hit that like button. I need you to hit the like button and call like 20 of your friends and tell them to tune into the show. Because we're going to talk about this shit. It's Throwback Thursday. Let's get real about relationships Thursday. I was thinking about something funny today. Something funny that we used to do back in the day. Remember back in the day before we had to use the area codes in order to dial a number? Remember when it was just 7 digits? Yo, I need those 7 digits, ma. Yo, baby, I need those 7 digits. Yo, girl, I need those 7 digits. So, we go to the mall or somewhere like that, a show or whatever, skating rink, where teenagers used to meet girls. You get a girl number, you kick it to her and all of that. You get a number and you might not have no pen. See, we didn't have cell phones to just put the number in there and it was a memory. No, you had to actually remember a number. So here it is. You done met the girl of your dreams. She super cutie. You know how girls used to look back in the 70s and the 80s. I don't know if we'll ever get women to look like that again. That's when it was girls is girls I do adore. But anyway, so you ain't had no pen to write it down. Even when you had a pen, you might not have had no paper to write it down, but you had to get this number. So sometimes you write it on your palm or whatever. But I'm talking about when you didn't have no pen, you ain't have no paper. All you had was your friend that was standing on the sidelines while you was chilling, talking to this chick and getting a number. So what would you do? You tell your man, all right, I got a number. Her number, let's say, is 732-2560. So what I'm going to do, I'll remember the 732 part. You got to remember the 2560 part. What's the last 4 numbers? Would you say 2560? Yes, man. Don't forget that shit. I got to call her. I'm going to call her. As soon as I get to the crib, I'm calling her. So my job was the first 3 numbers, 732. And if it was a 732 number, that means she lived out in South Philly. That was a 732 exchange. That was a 732 exchange. So 732. Damn, man, what was the last four numbers? Don't tell me you forgot. Don't tell me you forgot. No, oh, I got you. It's 2560. It was 2560? Yeah, man, I remember it was 2560. So it's 732 2560. 732 2560. 732 2560. 732 2560. 732 2560. I'ma call Shorty tonight so she can get with me. I'm going around her way. I'm gonna find out where she's staying. I'm going around here and talk to her. I'ma put her under my wing and she gonna be my thing. And that's my joint right there. Nobody look at her. Nobody try to touch her. Don't try to get too much of her eyesight. Don't try to disrespect. Yo, I'ma have to choke you out with your neck because it's 732 2560. My man remember the last four digits because he was with me. He remembered just how she looked. Yo, I had to put a number right in my book and all the numbers that was in there before. I don't care about none of them other numbers no more. Why? Because I met her downtown in the gallery in front of McDonald's. I had to holler, hey, who fronts or mine don't understand. I'm the sun, I'ma always shine, baby. The year was 1985, 1986, Coca-Cola sweater. You know that was the shit. That's how it was. I had to call her number, give her a buzz. What's her number, baby? What's her number, baby? What's her number, baby? What's her number, baby? What she look like? Brown skin cutie, had the bob hair, you know, or the rat, you know. Had me open like a six-pack. I was dying to get with that. I let her walk a few steps in front of me, cause you know that was what I wanna be. She was my honey, just like a bee. What you talking about? None of y'all niggas fuck with me. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go, baby. That was kind of like a true story too. The remembering the number part. So me and my big brother, we hung out a lot. And normally we had the pen. But sometimes we got caught out there without the pen. So all I had was a memory and my man, and y'all said, get with Shorty later. Yo, she got a friend too. We gonna see what's up with that. You know, I'm gonna go around the crib. You know, she lay down the bottom. Oh, I said she lived in South Philly, right? All right. Yeah, she's living in South Philly. It ain't safe to go out South Philly when you ain't from South Philly. It ain't safe to go out South Philly when you from South Philly. Because you might be from the other side of South Philly, from across the tracks. And anybody who lives in South Philly know what I'm talking about when you say across the tracks. That's Washington. Anyway, let me go ahead and put on my uniform. And we gonna go ahead and get started. Throwback Thursday. Let's get real about relationships Thursday. And we talking about being there for somebody in the right way. Being there for somebody in the right way. Hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button, please. Please, that's all I need you to do. That's all I ask of you. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel. You ain't got to do all that other shit. Just give me a thumbs up. Just give me a thumbs up. And we'd be good. We'd be straight. So what does it mean to you to be there for somebody? What does it mean for somebody to be there for you? Because the way I might need somebody to be there for me might be different than the way you need somebody to be there for you. You might need somebody to physically be there for you. And there are a lot of different ways to physically be there for somebody. Like, let's say I have a band recital or something like that. You know what I mean? I want my peoples to come out and support me. I need them to be there for me. Don't let me be first chair. Don't let me be first chair in the band ensemble. And who ain't gonna come see me? I'm first chair. I could get a I could get a scholarship off of this shit of first chair. You don't mean to tell me I made it the first chair and my peoples ain't gonna come out and support me? What kind of shit is this? What kind of shit? So that's a way that you can physically be there for somebody. When I was doing comedy, my people would come out and they come out and check me out. They come out there and give me them laughs. Needed that. Needed that. When you see your people out there in the crowd, like, oh, okay, all right, I know, I feel safe now. But that's a way to be there for somebody. Now, you may not be the type of person that needs that type of support. You might need another way for somebody to be there for you. Like maybe you need financial support. Like, yo, you know, a lot of people are getting frustrated, angry, and tired of living in the city of Philadelphia. So they're moving in other places. And you know, when you move to another city or move to another state or something like that, there can be a bit of an adjustment period. So you might need somebody there to be there for you. Or maybe you need somebody from the town to come and stay with you for a little while. You know, come visit. What up, Art of Mind 559? What's good? How you feeling, my dude? Always good to see me some you. Always, always. But yeah, you might need your people to come, you know, kick it with you for a little while. You know, it can get lonely. You in another state, you don't know nobody, whatever. You might have moved down there with your kids and all of that. They might be having adjustment problems, going to a new school, having to make new friends. If you move down south, getting used to the different slangs and different ways that people talk, different values and stuff like that. So you might need, you know, maybe you need, you know, your best friends or your sister or your brother to come down there. Just come stay with me for a little while, you know. At least come visit. Don't make me feel like I done left home and left everybody behind. I don't want to do that. So being there for somebody. Let's have this conversation, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. All right. So Richard Wilkins, I'm sorry. What's going on, man? It's been a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. What's up, son? Carrie, Chet. To be there for me, someone has to be supportive of me and my goals, but it has to be someone that means something to me. Acceptance from strangers isn't as meaningful, in my opinion. Yo, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. There is no wrong way for somebody to be there for you when they do it your way. That's what you ask for. Now, where we can run into trouble with somebody being there for you is, have you ever asked somebody to be there for you in a certain kind of way, and instead of being there for you in that way, they decided that they was going to be there for you in a totally different way, totally disregarding what you needed and what you asked for. Maybe they didn't think that what you needed was reasonable, so they didn't give that. They said, well, you know how some people think that they know you better than you know yourself. I don't know if you've ever been around somebody who swears that they know you better than you know yourself. Just because they know some of the things that you like or some of the patterns that you might follow, but they're not in your brain 24/7 like you're inside of yourself. They don't know exactly what's going on, and they may not know exactly what motivates you. But one thing they do know is what you asked for. And one thing that you know is that they didn't deliver it. It's like asking for a bike. It's like asking for a big wheel and you got a tricycle. Like, I wanted the big wheel so I can pedal down the street and do the spin outs. I can't do that on a bike. Or especially no tricycle. That's for babies. I'm a big wheel kid. You know, Throwback Thursday, right? Do y'all remember big wheels? Do you remember big wheels? Remember they called it a big wheel because you had the big plastic wheel out in front. And you be pedaling fast as shit down that sidewalk. And when you hit that corner, them plastic wheels will wear out fast as hell. But a big wheel was a hell of a toy, boy. That was a hell of a toy. You know, I mean, when you think about the energy that you put into a big wheel, and it had the adjustable seat. Do y'all remember that? A big wheel was all plastic. The only thing that wasn't plastic on a big wheel was the axles that the pedals fit on. Everything else was straight plastic. But boy, what a toy. The Green Machine. The Green Machine. Remember, it didn't have a steering wheel. You had two levers. And that's how you steered the Green Machine. So you had to learn how to do it. It was good shit. It was good shit. Take me all the way back. Back in the day, baby. Back in the day. Richard Wilkins says big wheels and Green Machine. Yes. Big wheels and green. See, I didn't even see that when I was. That Green Machine, that thing was everything. That Green Machine was everything. That thing was crazy. Let me see. Hold on. Software update. All right, go ahead. I'll Google the other one. Okay. The Green Machine big wheel. Yeah. That was the Green Machine. You see how sophisticated that shit is? That looks like the three-wheel motorcycles of today. That's exactly, I mean, look, they pretty much modeled it after the Green Machine big wheel. That was my shit. That was my joint. The Green Machine, baby. The Green Machine. You see, no steering wheel, two levers. You kept that thing straight. The back wheels turn, not the front. Yeah. Parents was bitching because this was a little bit more complicated to put together. You had to get some decent tools in order to rock a Green Machine. You know what I mean? It wasn't that easy to get busy. Carla says, yes, my big brothers tried to rear end me with their big wheels. Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Richard says, I grew up in the 2000s, but my parents gave me all the knowledge of old toys that they had. I had that. Dave Figueroa says, that's pretty sick. Never seen one before. Really? Yeah. Trust me, that was hours of fun right there. That was hours of fun. And all of the kids, it seemed like all of the boys on my block had one. We was big wheeling it to death. This was before we could go in the street. You know, we like 6, 7, maybe 8 years old, maybe I don't even think we might have outgrown it by the time we was 8, but 6 and 7, it was on. Very, very on. Here's what it says. Drift tricycle of the century. I used to grease up the wheels with soap and ride on the ice downhill. Well. All right, now we talking. Man, you know, when you grow up and you look at the list of friends that you had when y'all did things. I mean, around my way, we was kind of like the Peanuts. You know, like Charlie Brown and Peanuts gang. We played sports. We made up shit. We did everything together. There was some younger kids. There was some older kids. And the older kids looked out for the younger kids, literally. Now, sometimes they made us do shit that wasn't conducive to our development. But it wasn't anything like drugs, or alcohol, or smoking or anything like that. Sometimes they would make us fight. They wouldn't let us bully each other. So if there was a problem with somebody bullying, they would peer pressure them into fighting. Like, no, you can't let that go. You can't let that go. Because we might not be around you to support you one day, or, in school or whatever. So yeah, make us fight. So even if you were scared to fight somebody, you knew that they had your back. They may have had the other guy's back too, because we was around the same way. But they were there for us, both of us. So no matter what, if one of us got hurt or got the best of one another, they would make sure it didn't go too far. And wasn't no crying and none of that shit. No, you ain't get beat up that bad. You was in the fight for real, for real. You were probably crying because you was afraid, but we turned that fear into aggression. But healthy. We wasn't trying to kill each other. We were just basically honing our skills. So when we fought against each other, that was in preparation for fighting outsiders. But we were there for each other in that way. We didn't, if you lost a fight or something like that, you weren't ostracized or put out or whatever, or nobody would speak to you, or everybody would call you a punk. It didn't work that way. And, I didn't remember that. I never really thought of it that way, but I remember cats that didn't learn how to fight well, they still got it. They still could hang out because we weren't fighting all the time. You know what I mean? We weren't fighting all the time. We had sports to play. Speaking of sports, let's say when you learn how to play football and, you don't know how to catch. You don't know how to catch yet. When you don't know how to play football, but you want to play football, and they don't pick you, you're going to need somebody to be there for you because it's a lonely place. You're not getting picked. Now, normally everybody got picked, but you may have gotten picked so far back in the draft because you couldn't catch. We weren't really playing tackle too much. We were playing tag football. So you had to know how to catch because you had to outrun somebody. So you had to know how to run and you had to know how to catch. If you kept dropping the ball, nobody was going to pass it to you. Simple as that. All right. Okay. Richard Wilkins says, I'm very fortunate to have been born on the cusp of when kids were essentially born with phones in their hands. I'm going to make sure my children experience a good upbringing better than mine. That's commendable. That's commendable. And that definitely means that you're conscious of your parenting, and that means that you're going to be there for your kids. Now, being there for your kids can be one of those things. It can be a point of contention for a parent. It can be one of those things that are disheartening for a parent. You know what I mean? Sometimes your children don't really understand the way that you are there for them. Sometimes your children don't understand how down for them you are. Sometimes they don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't get it. And you have to explain it to them, and it can be exhausting. Or when your children get older and somehow they conveniently forget how much you were there for them, how down you were for them, how accommodating you may have been for them. Somehow they conveniently forget that. I've seen children that were well taken care of turn around and say, well, yeah, I basically raised myself. I say some smart shit like, you basically raised yourself? What were you wearing? Like, what do you mean? What was I wearing? Because I didn't recognize you. If you raised yourself, you were out of uniform. You was out of uniform, homie. Didn't nobody see you raise yourself. Hit that like button, yo. Hit the like button. Por favor. Por favor. Hit the like button. That's all I ask of you. I gotta get a charger for this other phone. It ran out of juice. It ran out of juice. Well, it's down to 6%. Well, it's gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Hold your head, kid. Everything is gonna be all right. Everything is gonna be all right. Do your thing now. All right. One love, one life to live says, I'm from the wired hanger. Wired hanger stretched out on the back of your door, pretending like it's a basketball hoop. I see you. I see you. I know where you from. We all from there too. I like that. I like that. As someone who has mainly kids that didn't have parents truly raise themselves. Wait. As someone who has known many kids that didn't have parents who truly raised themselves, who didn't have parents, they truly raised themselves. I'm appreciative for the 12 years my father wasn't present and for my mother, regardless of their faults. I ain't mad at that. A lot of people grew up without having, the guidance of their paternal parent. And this is a sad thing. And as much as people try to make it sound like that's only a black thing, no, there are plenty of white kids. There are plenty of all kids of all races that didn't grow up that grew up without a father. Now, I will say something. I don't meet a lot of Asian kids, Oriental Asian kids that didn't, that grew up without a dad. I don't know what that's about. Now, maybe if I went to Asia, maybe I would see something different. But in the United States, they normally are on some two-parent shit. I don't know what the divorce or separation rate is with Oriental Asians. And I have to say Oriental Asians because I understand what the map really looks like. So I kind of resent only the chinky-eyed people talking about they Asians. I'm like, India is in Asia. Afghanistan is in Asia. The greater part of Russia is in Asia. Pakistan is in Asia. Iraq is damn near in Asia, but Iran is all the way in Asia. What we doing? Kazakhstan. Uzbekistan. I mean, what we doing? Japan, Taiwan, Philippines. They not even on the continent of Asia. They out there in the water talking about, yo, we from Asia. I'm like, you Asiatic. You're Asia associated, but you ain't on that you ain't on that continent. You're out there hanging in the water, claiming the whole Asia. The nerve, the unmitigated gall of some people. But anyway, Richard says cultural differences mainly. Most Asian countries have lower divorce rates because they would rather separate and stay legally married. A lot of single motherhood in those communities are married. You said a lot of single motherhood in those communities are married? You write that right? One love, one life to live says, bring back the food stamp books. I was embarrassed to put that book, to pull out that book back in the day. Not no more, man. You are preaching to the choir. Yo, when somebody would send me to the store with that book, I'd be like, oh God, man, I would try to wait until everybody was out of the store in order to buy something. That's when I didn't understand the money that you could save if you could actually get your hand on a book of food stamps. I hated it when they turned to the card for the food stamps, because now you couldn't buy the food stamps off of somebody without being associated with them. You got to take their card, have their PIN number. Then when you finish with it, you got to take the card back. Before, you bought the stamps off of them. You had the stamps. You know what I mean? You could spend them whenever you felt like it. You didn't have to rush. You know what else I want them to bring back? TVs with knobs. I mean, the remote is cool, but how about a knob? No, I'm not talking about them little buttons that they have on the side of some TVs. No, I mean knobs. Knobs, you know, like a knob. I want two of them. UHF and UHF and VHF. Wasn't that one was VHF, right? That was like the higher numbers. UHF was the main local numbers. You know what I mean? We need knobs. That remote on some bullshit. All these, gotta find the menu, the guide. They got apps on the TV or smart TV. Fuck all that. Give me a knob. Turn the channel. Just turn the channel. Why can't you make technology and put a knob on it? I like to see a knob on a radio too. Them little arrows always make you go too far up or too far down. A knob, you can get that shit just right. Get it just right. Yo, what Larry said, I can't believe they really gave you change back when you didn't spend the whole bill. Some stores would actually pay you back with more stamps. Food stamps was an experience. Richard Wilkins says, 50 cents on the dollar, who's buying? See, now y'all talking my language, man. This is lovely. This is why I love kinfolk. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Give me $100 in food stamps, I give you $50 and we good. All right. Richard Wilkins says, I still have a TV with a knob and a Pioneer receiver with knobs and bulbs. It rescued them from my electronic recycling job. That is hot. That is so dope. Well, says that you at the top, then the 1 through 50 on the bottom knob. Carla said, don't forget the hanger and the aluminum foil as antennas. I just want to know why we kept breaking the antennas. Like, what was it about the antennas? Why couldn't we? What was it about the TV that attracted us to the antenna to break it? Why do we have to use a hanger for? Why do we have to use pliers for? I'll tell you one thing. TVs are way more advanced and honestly cheaper in today's economy than they ever were. TVs costed a lot. They did. TVs were expensive when, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You didn't just, there weren't no $100 TVs. You spent big money for a good TV. And when you look back at those TVs, you see the resolution, you're like, damn, we was watching that shit. We was basically watching dots and dashes. We ain't know that. We ain't know it. We ain't know it. Yeah. But anyway, being there for somebody in the right way. Being there for somebody in the right way. Let me ask y'all this. Have you ever been there for somebody in your mind or in actuality? You may have honestly been there for them, but they told you that you've never been there for them. Has that ever happened to y'all? It can be a really bad communication breakdown among people who genuinely like each other, even love each other. But, you know, when it's not understood, when the contribution of one person is devalued by another person, you know what I mean? You thinking to yourself, I've been there for you so many goddamn times, I can't count them. I don't understand this selective amnesia. So you mad at them because they, you know, they're telling you that you weren't there and you were there. And you waiting for them to say psych or something and they're not. But it can get worse. It can get worse. Have you ever known that somebody was going to shit on you and not acknowledge your contributions? Not to the rest of the world, to you. You knew that they was going to act like you never did nothing from them. And that's what they were going to tell you. This was gaslighting before gaslighting was a term that we were familiar with. They was gaslighting you, telling you that you've never been there for them and you've never been anything else but there for them. My man Jay Sloan is in the house. Jay Sloan. What up, my dude? What up, my dude? And he says again and again, wow. Wow. You know, that's not the easiest thing to get past. That ain't no easy shit to get past. You know, certain things stick in your memory on the negative side and they don't go away. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that, though. Shit like that it'll make you uneasy. You've been there for somebody. You looked out for somebody. You've made sure. Now, I mean, you've definitely been there for them. But you not only was there for them in their minds or for their vision, but even mentally and emotionally, you were already thinking of them. You knew that they needed you and you were there for them for what they needed you for. And you were conscious of that. But you knew that somehow they were going to try to flip and bounce that shit like you weren't there or like you didn't do what was needed. And that makes it seem like it's more than just a communication issue. That makes it sound like, you know what, you ungrateful bastard. You fucking ungrateful. You a selfish motherfucker. Like you gotta be kidding me. I could have kept my money in my pocket. I could have kept my car keys on my wall. I didn't have to come out. I didn't have to do shit. You requesting a shout out, AJC? All right, you got it. You got it. This is a place where you can get a shout out. Can I get a like? Like the way I see it, the like should go up to 13 if you get a shout out. It remains at 12. You gonna tell me that you were part of the 12? I don't believe it. I do not believe it. I smell a rat Huelo la rata, huelo la rata, huelo la rata, huelo la rata. Huelo la ratones. Huelo la. Okay. All right. Richard Wilkins says, of course, at the point that you know that someone won't acknowledge your help down the road, you have to decide whether your kindness extends to helping someone who wouldn't help you. It might not be the situation where they wouldn't help you. It's just the fact that they didn't acknowledge that you helped them. Or maybe they tried to minimize the help that you gave. Like all I did was, like, okay. I'm on YouTube, right? I could say all YouTube is doing is giving me a platform. I got to provide the cameras. I got to provide the set. I have to provide the lighting. I have to make sure I'm the one with the material. All they doing is providing the platform. Well, the platform is monetized. The platform has allowed me to meet a lot of people that I don't know if I would have ever had an opportunity to meet otherwise. And I still have the opportunity to meet more people, bring more people in, increase revenue and things like that. So I can get on my high horse and say all they're doing is providing a platform, but they're doing a lot more than just providing a platform. When I was on Facebook, I wasn't making money. They was playing the same kind of algorithm games that YouTube plays with me. With the guan. So, you have to be appreciative and acknowledge what could have been had somebody not done something else. Marvina says, got a family member in prison. I have helped him out a lot, but once more. Oh, once more. And doesn't appreciate shit. I understand. I overstand. I totally get it. Richard says, helping someone else is often a detriment to yourself. Ungratefulness is a consideration you have to make when helping someone. Carla says, when you've been there for someone emotionally and they don't return the favor, is very hurtful. It is. It is. And there's so many ways to be there emotionally for somebody. People break up. They get divorced. They get separated. They get cheated on. Women have abortions. Whether you pro-life or pro-choice, for some women who have had an abortion or who have had abortions, that shit. You may think that they just walk away from killing a life or eliminating a life like it ain't shit, like they don't think about it. I've known women that have damn near driven themselves crazy over it. It is what it is. But even with an abortion, women can suffer postpartum depression. And it can be even more serious than having a baby, because you having postpartum over a baby that did not make it here. Same as a miscarriage. Some people really, really are done in by miscarriage. It happens. It's a very it's bad enough that when a woman is pregnant, her hormones are all crazy. They everywhere. They in a tailspin. It's a really, really tough position to be in. Then you add in the fact that, you know, you got to deal with some mortality issues or divinity issues. You know, shit. You know, these crazy Republicans that have you believing that just because you have an abortion means that you don't believe in God or some shit. For most women I've known that have had an abortion, the opposite was true. It was hard as shit for them to do it because they did believe in God. So they seeking a forgiveness that they're not really sure that they'll receive. And you might be there for them during that time. But because they don't even want to relive that incident, they want to act like you wasn't there for them because they're trying to clear their slate, their mental slate and their emotional slate of that experience. But you were there. You were there. You were there for them. Ain't no denying it, but they denying it. Which it says, Carla, yes, it is. Even though I try not to let it stop me from helping people. It's hard to keep helping people when you don't get anything back. And he also says it's emotionally and physically scarring. Most people don't have abortions for fun, whatever the reasons. Let some people tell it though. You just use an abortion for birth control. So I mean, but I get it. I get it on both sides. I I understand how both sides feel, and I'm not sure which side is exactly right. But nonetheless, times like that are when you're going to really need support. You're going to really need somebody to be there for you. And being there for somebody who is going through this kind of thing and them acting like you were never there. Yeah, that's a toughie. Yeah. That's a toughie. Yeah. That shit wild. Yeah, so being there for somebody in the right way. The reason that I said, or the reason that I titled the show Being There for Somebody in the Right Way is because there are times when people are there for you, but they're not really there for you in support. They're there for you as in witness. Where would we be? Just like Richard was talking about how it's hard to be there for somebody who doesn't appreciate you being there for them. I totally get that. But unfortunately, there are some people. Oh, God. Android done updated this AI shit more. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's what we need. More AI. Ooh. Okay. All right, get out of here. I don't want to see this shit anymore. All right. Shit was taking forever. So yeah. Unfortunately, there are some people who are there for you just to see you fall, just to see you fail, just to see you get hurt, just to see you embarrassed or humiliated, just to see you defeated. Unfortunately, there are people that are there for you that way. And they make sure that they're there, hoping that you don't make it, hoping that you don't get better, hoping that you don't prosper, hoping that you don't persevere. That's why I had to call the show Being There for Someone in the Right Way. Because too many people are there for others not in the right way. You know what I mean? They're just trying to bear witness to when you trip, when you slip, when you fall, when you get hurt, when you fail, when you get defeated, when you get laughed at, when you get humiliated, when you get kicked down, struck down. And I don't consider that to be there for you in the right way. Sorry, my cat been trying to hang out with me lately. Ain't that right, kitty? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you can just go ahead and finish cleaning yourself. She saw the hand. The hand means she coming. You see her? You see her? Hold on. Somehow these sounds drive her crazy. So you ain't gonna jump on me today? Well, that ain't how it was yesterday. I should. Oh damn! I can't. Fuck! It's on the camera. Like that's how you know the cats are smarter than you think they are, because she like, no, you're not gonna make a spectacle out of me. She like, no. What we do in private, that's our shit. That's our shit. What up, Chris? Chris, you from last night, right? You the Republican guy, right? If I remember correctly. I didn't expect to see you again here. But I'm glad you came through. That's what's up. All right. Okay. Caller says, I agree, Richard. And it's like your feelings mean nothing to them. Yeah, Richard says, I position my values above what someone else perceives of my actions. If I help you and you fail to acknowledge my feelings, that says a lot about your character. But I try to look at it objectively. Marvina Bigley says, after losing my husband, it has shown me who some of my friends really are. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool, Chris. That's what's up. I like that. So we can have discourse, we can have political discourse and disagreement and be like, yeah, but we ain't talking about politics tonight. I still live real life. All right, that's what's up. Thanks for coming through. All right. Let's see what it says. I must be half cat or something because that's funky. Are you feeling that? Hold on, let me hold on. That was hold on. That's not the right one. You like, stop fucking with me. You good? You good? She's like, good for what? Stop fucking with me. This is tearing my nervous system. She got a paw like, Come get it. Come cat. Come gata. Come gata. Come. 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 Come on. Mmm. 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 You know? All right, you think about it. I'll be here. I'll be here. Hey, everybody. What's good? Good kitty. Nice kitty. Fun kitty. Good kitty. Nice kitty. Fun kitty. All right, cool. All right, so, all right, let's see. Where were we? Oh, that's what's up. Let me find out y'all high. Dave said, yeah, for real. The sound sent me on a trip. That's what's up. That's what's up, yeah. All right. Richard says, yeah, I've called in and out with son before about age gap relationships, and we're still cool. Yeah, come on, man. We gotta. It's not about agreement. It's about information. It's not about agreement. It's about information, and we can definitely learn from each other. Chris says, fair weather friends and family are what I call them. James Flooring, what's good? What's up, my dude? This is what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, this is my good returns here. What's up, my man? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. Dave says, true, but the football team politics is pretty wild nowadays. It's sad when conversation is lost because that's how society degrades. It happens, but see, there's so much misinformation and disinformation going on nowadays that it's hard for people to. There's such an effort to turn people against each other over people that we don't even know personally, or over ideologies that we don't really hold fast to. And I think that that's a big problem. But since we're talking about this, this whole being there for somebody thing in the right way, the political climate nowadays is turning us against each other to the point where we think it's okay, more okay, to not be there for each other. So even people that you like, you are, some people, I'm not going to put this on everybody, but the political climate that is permeating our existence nowadays is turning us against people that we like because they don't feel the same way politically that we do, or that we're not standing on the same type of platform. And I think that's so fucking whack. I do. I think that's whack. I think it's weak. I think it's bad. I don't see the good in it. I don't see the good in it. But this is where we are. So as I'm trying to figure out, by the way, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. It's free. You know what I mean? Subscribing to the channel, that's free. It doesn't cost anything. We deliver every night. We're here 7 days a week. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So even people that you like, because they may differ from your political, like we used to beef over religion. Christians versus Muslims versus Jews versus, I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses or something like that. Now it's over politics. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to be hating nobody over no politics. But at the same time, we're also talking about our thought processes and the way that we want to live and the way that we view our lives. And sometimes our afterlife. So, being there for someone in the right way can take on so many different faces and forms between all of us. There's a lot to unpack with this. Chris says, Richard says, it's a club and I'm not in it. I hear that. And Chris says, different walks of life can walk in the same direction. That's true. But there's such a push to make sure that we don't even talk to each other. I mean, a lot of this shit started at COVID during the pandemic. It was a bad time. I mean, think about it. We wearing masks on our face and shit. We couldn't even see each other. I mean, it was for our safety, but it fucked up a lot. James says, grateful to be able to come home. Some people don't get to walk again or even leave the hospital. So I'm grateful. You ain't never gonna lie, man. I work in a hospital. And I'm so glad that I get to come home from the hospital every day. That shit is not a small blessing to me. It's not a small blessing at all.
You have a call from
Troy.
The one them called Troy. I said the one them called Troy. Troy is my man. What's going on, Troy?
Hey, what's up? 7 5 5 2 7 4 5 4 5 2.
You know what I mean?
Hey, the 7 the 5 2 is in the building. What's going on, bro?
G-Town, my place in home with PSK gangsters like Jerome. All right, what's up, my dude? I'm over here.
Man.
I'm feeling like a real man should.
I'm glad you're doing. That's when you say you feel like a real man should, that opens the door for conversation. And at the end of the day, I've been on a hiatus for this week. You know what I mean? I feel like I've been letting the family down, man. But I'm back.
That's what's up. We glad you back.
Tell me
Put
something
the dick.
good. Tell me that you like.
Oh shit.
I was waiting for you to come up with the beat. Oh man.
So we talking about being there for somebody in the right way. So I don't know how long you've been listening, but you know, we had started talking about how you can be there for somebody and they not acknowledge that you was ever there, and how sometimes you know that that's coming down the pipe, and it may not discourage you from being there for, but at the same time you recognize like you knew that this person that you looking out for is going to act like then they that you never looked out for them. And it's not that they're going to tell everybody else that you never looked out for them. They're going to tell you that that you never looked out for them on some gaslighting type shit. You know what I mean? And
What?
and like this is one of those things that can really separate people. It's one of those things that can really make you turn your back on somebody that you like. You know what I'm saying? And we was also talking about how the political climate out here nowadays has us separating from people that we previously liked before, because now our political ideology is taking center stage over our personal lives, and this is for a bunch of people that we don't know with ideas that most of us really don't follow.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, well, you know, the first thing about the, it's a hurtful situation when people, you don't want them to acknowledge you, but you do want them to appreciate it.
right.
You know what I mean? Just to be an appreciative. Like, it makes it even worse when the person is your significant other or your children.
True. Facts.
That's the ones. It can be you know certain people, you know the individuals that's going to do that. But when it's your significant other and it's your children, that's when you be like, you get on your knees and you be screaming out that Smokey Norfolk song talking about I need you now. You don't believe, you don't remember none of that.
None of that.
You say, no, you don't remember none of that sacrifice.
I mean,
you don't remember the time I got done. I was in the hospital. I had surgery. I got out early. Your birthday came. We went and bought you the Xbox, but I'm the one that bought the Xbox for you. Then we took you to Chuck E. Cheese, and I sat in the car sick, still from having the surgery. And you don't remember none of that, son?
well, we was also talking about earlier how your kids can be the very ones that act like you were never there for them.
Hold up, man. I want you to hear this. That's the hand clap. I just put the hand clap.
It sounded very, very much like hand clapping in the background. But the crazy thing about about some kids, they will tell you, the parent, that they raised themselves. They telling you this shit when they got a room at your crib to this day.
Mm-hmm.
The room, what part did you raise yourself? Well, like, what day was that? What did you have on? You got any pictures? Because I don't remember you raising yourself. Did you enroll yourself in school? Did you get yourself to school? Did you pick yourself up? Like when you raised yourself, like when they asked what your parents did for a living, what did you say? What parents? Or did they ask you what you did for a living? Like, damn, with all of this raising yourself, I'm surprised you had a chance. I'm surprised you had a chance to go to your 4th grade graduation. That's not bad.
You know, you was working a 9 to 5. You know, from what you tell people, you know, my oldest son told me, this about maybe 2-3 years ago, my oldest son told me that I had let him down with the clothes I bought him for school. I said, I let you down. He said, yeah, Dad, you let me down. I said, why you say that? He said, because when the kids was wearing polo and Izod and stuff like that to school, you bought me U.S. Polo. U.S. Polo. I said, hold up. That was uniforms. I'm not buying polo, Ralph Lauren polo khakis and shirts for you to destroy your school for uniforms. When you came home, what did you have on, son? When you went out, we went out, got something to eat, or we went out with it. Oh, I had polo and I had this on. So what the hell are you talking about? So you know what I told him, son?
What'd you tell him, Troy? What'd you tell him?
You let me down too, son. He said, why you say I let you down? I said, well, you've been locked up a couple times. You let me down. I said, you barely got your diploma. You let me down. At times you are very disrespectful for like what you just said just now. You let me down. I said, you can't sit back. I said, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. You don't tell me that I let you down without hearing how much you let me down. I never been locked up or been I ain't never get sent upstate for 30 years in prison. I mean, at the end of the day,
that's heavy. That's heavy. That really is. That's heavy.
Yeah, man. I mean, how can you can't be let down if you got clothes on your back, food in your mouth, and you get what you want, and you even get what you need when you don't. You get what you need, but you get what you want, even when you don't deserve it. Because us as parents, we always want to give our kids what we didn't have. I mean, we can ask in the chat. Matter of fact, I'm gonna ask the chat. How many of y'all children ever had a hole in their sneak? I guarantee you, nobody in the chat.
I don't think that's gonna be a high number.
Say that again.
I said I don't think that's gonna be a high number.
You're damn right. Because they had too many pairs. They had too many pairs. My mom said, you ain't getting another pair of sneakers until you get a hole in them sneakers. I was dragging my feet on the ground and trying to make a hole. You know what I mean? But see, listen, and then for you to sit there and say, I never done nothing for I just went through. I'm not trying to get off subject. You know what my son told me today, my middle son?
Hold on. We watch. So, let me get this straight. Your mom told you wasn't getting a new. Hold on. So your mom told you wasn't getting a new pair of sneaks until you got a. Oh my God. So she told you wasn't getting a new pair of sneaks until you got a hole in your sneaks. So you had to try to beat your sneaks up a little bit. Like, look, Mom, look, it's time. It's time. Oh my God, I was not ready. You never cease to amaze me.
I never forgot when I had a pair of Cortez night. He said I wasn't getting a pair of sneaks at the time. Boy, you would have thought my arches was falling over. I fucked them sneaks up.
I feel you, man. Yeah.
You know, and then, not to get off subject, but my middle son just told me today. He said, the job of the mother, the kids to call and check on the parents. It's the job of the parents to check on the kids since they still their kids. I said, what? I mean, I see it. One thing about your generation coming up behind us, y'all changed the narrative of how things supposed to be, of how things was and always supposed to be. Y'all made it good for people to have ghostwriters in rap music. Y'all accept that.
Okay.
Not realizing that rap music is the perspective of what the person that's writing rap music is about. So when Drake is out there getting ghostwriters, that's not Drake's perspective of his life. You're a rapper, I'm a historian. You know that, son. We grew up on the culture. You know, and then you turn back around. Now you want to change the narrative of how you check up on. So I'm 55 and I'm getting AARP cards in the mail asking me to sign up. Right. And my son telling me I should be calling checking on him. 26.
Gotta love it.
But if he need money, he'll call and ask me for money. If I got it, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
See how the shit changes. See how the shit changes now. And then don't remember what you did. I gotta run down the gamut. You know shit bad when you start using words that you ain't used in a long time. Gamut.
God
I gotta run
damn
down a gamut of shit to remind my children what I thank for. Because to me, their mother screwed herself to make them.
Okay.
It's just amazing how, I don't mind giving testimonies in the chat because some shit is just unbelievable. It's like when you at work and a couple of nights ago you had something about doing other people's job or your work ethic. People don't come to work and do a half-ass job, and all of a sudden you're doing their job.
All right, let me ask you this. Hold on, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
When you hear about somebody being there for somebody else, what's your first thoughts about that? Like what do you visualize when you hear about somebody being there for somebody? Like what are you seeing?
When I see somebody be there for somebody else, number one, if I know the person is in need, then I know then that person doing for that person is more about, damn, that's what's up. I appreciate seeing that happen. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. But if I see the person being, let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say you there for somebody, right? And I know the person that you there for. And I know that person really don't need it. So I know at the end of the day, this guy is just playing this game. I will feel some type of way about that.
Now, wait a minute.
But if that person is really in need, I'll be like, yeah, that's what's up. Matter of fact, let me see if I can help out. You know what I mean? If I got out, I'll try to even help out.
Okay, but what I'm asking you is to tell me what looking out for somebody or being there for somebody means. Like what it
means? It means humbleness. It means blessings. It means just generosity. It means paying forward. Sometimes when you do certain things, you don't look for blessings, but that's what you do. Sometimes you just do from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
You do from the heart. You give. If you're a charitable giver, you give. If you got, you give to people that are in need. But like I said, the 9 times out of 10 that the people that are in need are people that's within your in your circle, or maybe it's your friends that are somewhat like your family. Maybe it is your family. So the ones right there, but them people, the ones right there are the ones that's the most hurtful, because at the end of the day, they have a tendency to forget.
Okay.
It's not even to forget, but to be appreciative. When people do something for me, and I say, when I come up, I'm gonna make sure I give more than what I get than more than when they gave me, because it's not. I know they're not saying, "Oh, you ain't gotta do that," but being a person I am, you want to give back to that person.
All right.
And you want them to let them know how much you appreciate that.
Let me make sure you understand what I'm talking about. All right. So I believe that there are a lot of different ways to be there for somebody.
Right.
But you have the perspective of the person who has somebody that's there for them, and then you have the perspective of the person who is there for that person. Now, the person who is receiving the lookout or the presence is they may have a certain thing that they need or whatever. It may or may not have anything to do with finances or money or whatever. It may deal more with moral support. For example, we had a career in comedy, right? We were doing comedy.
Right.
So we knew that our people were there for us because they would come support our shows. Now, whether that means you buying tickets, you're there in the building, you're cheering us on, you're laughing at the jokes, you're making sure that, like, yeah, my man is out here. You know what I mean? My man, he doing his thing. And I'm gonna make sure I go out there and support him. I'm there for him. And if anything should jump off or whatever, or if it's an unsafe situation, I'm there for him.
Right.
So I'm physically there, and I'm contributing, and I'm physically there. So
right.
Nothing is going to happen to him while I'm there, and I'm also going to make sure that he does a good job. And if he doesn't do a good job, I'm there to make sure that that he can pick up the pieces and get back on the horse again. So, there is support that may be continuing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
From the perspective of the person that's receiving, that might be exactly what they need, or there may be something else that needs to be done, that they need somebody there for them as well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But when you're there for somebody, you are accessible. But you can also be there for somebody in thought. Like if you love somebody, or you like somebody, if you care for somebody, if you pray for somebody, you're there for them. They don't know. You know what I mean? You may be summoning divine energy for them. They don't know that, but I bet you they receive it in some kind of way. You understand what I mean? So you're still there for them. Now, when we say there for somebody in the right way, I was talking about that earlier, because there's some people who are physically around you and there for you, but they're only there to see you fail. They're only there to see you hurt. They're only there to see you go down. They're only there to see you humiliated. They're only there to see you embarrassed. They're only there to see you uncomfortable. They're only there to see. It's sort of like when I watched the Dallas Cowboys. I'm there, but not for a good reason. I'm not in support. You know what I'm saying? Like,
A good analogy.
I'm just saying, like I'm not going to act like I'm always there in the right way for everybody. Everybody doesn't deserve my positive presence. But, so when we talk about being there for somebody in the right way, sometimes you might have to structure the way that you're there for somebody and tailor it to the person that you're there for. So that's a communication issue. One of y'all might have to open up your mouths and ask what they want, ask for what they want, or you might have to ask them what they want. How can I be you? I'm sure you've done this. I'm sure that there have been people in your life that you were like, yo, what can I do for you, dog? What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let me know how I can help you out. Let me know how I can get you from mid-tier to top tier. You know what I'm saying? Like, how can I help elevate this or move this process along to the next level? So, so that's the essence of what we're talking about tonight. Being there for somebody in the right way, because the right way is a perspective. It's not necessarily etched in stone. Like, yeah, just because you have good intentions doesn't mean that you're necessarily there for a person in the right way, because they may need something more than what you are providing. But It may be something that you can still provide. But that's a communication issue. That's a communication issue that needs to be overcome. So, there's a lot to this.
And there's other ways other than finances for you to be there for people.
Right. There's definitely more ways than financial. The financing. Only thing I hate about the financing part is that it never seems to get the due that it deserves. You know what I mean? The paying for things part always seems to get shitted on. But you can't deny time. Because with time, you can have pictures, video.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you can't deny. Look, you can't deny that I was there for you, because you didn't have no way. You ain't had no other way to get there. I made sure you got there. I drove you there. I picked you up and got you back home. You can't deny it. The money thing is always in dispute. And I'm not saying that you should never be there for anybody financially, but being there in your physical presence, it's just like, it's sort of like child support. If a father does nothing but cut the check, he can never say he was there.
There you go.
But you put in that physical time. Like, look, man, you know what my dad used to do? He used to come and get me. No. This is when he was still at home. He would just take me in the woods and tell me to run, and he would chase me. You talking about some motherfucking fun? You know what I mean? Like, he never took me to do no fucking expensive shit. That wasn't on the menu. He would take me to the park. Like, we got mad wooded areas in Philly, especially in the Germantown area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he'd take me out there in the park and say, yo, run, and I'm going to chase you. I'm ducking behind trees. You know what I mean? My dad, even in a half, that's what he used to always say. I'm 5'11" and a half. I never heard no height like that. But he said he was 5'11" and a half. So, and he was fast. He was in good shape and all that kind of shit. So of course he could catch me. But we made a game out of it, and it was, I never forgot those times, because he was there. You know what I'm saying? He was there. We went on we used to go on trips down North Carolina and places like that. Just me and him. I'm in the passenger seat like, Dad, you think this Cadillac can beat that car? And he
Well, let's see.
no, he wouldn't even take. My dad was smooth. He wouldn't even take his eyes off the road. He'd just be like, he just increased the. You know what I mean? He wouldn't do it immediately because he didn't want me to be like, here we are on the road. We gonna fuck around, get ticketed and shit. You know what I'm saying? But he would do it on the low. Like, all right, let me show him what this little Eldorado can do. Because you know the Eldorado only showed 80 miles on the odometer, on the speedometer. It only showed. I was like 80 miles per hour. I mean, that's all it could do. That don't mean that it only went 80 miles per hour. You know what I mean? But that's all it showed on the speedometer. So anyway, shit like that.
You see what Jason Sloan said?
He said your dad was training you for Hunger Games. Had you thinking it was fun, but training you. Yo, he wasn't. Hey, he was a Green Beret in the Army. He very well could have been training me for the Hunger Games and shit. You know what I mean? But one thing I learned is that you run a lot faster when being chased. You know?
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, you know.
And that's the thing about making a memory. And one thing about that's what your dad did for you. He made memories with you that you can sit back and recall. You know, and it takes me out because, you know, like I said before, my dad wasn't like it. Wasn't there, but my grandfather, his father, because he was jealous of our relationship. And my grandfather was there a lot, you know. You know, he taught me how to fish. He taught me about certain things in life. He was only here for 14 years of my life. And in them 14 years, you know, he taught me a lot.
He was there for you.
Yeah, he was there. My grandfather, he taught me a lot. You know, he was my disciplinarian. But the thing is that people don't understand. You know, if you don't appreciate the discipline until you get older. You know,
heavy.
People will sit back. You know what I mean? People don't understand. You don't appreciate it till you get older because you don't understand the fact that if there's no discipline, then a lot of things you will be taken for granted. You know, and a lot of things, if you get away with a lot of things, you won't think you can get away with a lot of things in life, and that can either get you killed or get you locked up.
Facts.
You know, so, you know, the life lessons that was taught as a kid, you know, is deep. It runs deep. You know, and, you know, just the appreciation, just put it like this. If my kids walk up to me and just say, Dad, thanks for being there, and I just love you for that, I might get emotional. Because that's something they won't do. That's something I haven't experienced. You know, and that's the fucked up shit. That's fucked up.
So you need.
It doesn't.
So you need them to be there for you, and you know that they could. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't even take a lot, and maybe they don't even recognize that.
Right. You know, no, it's not. It might not be the fact that they don't recognize. They choose how can I put this? Because I was just talking to my son today, and I said to him, I said, you know, he's running down. Well, you know, I do this for you, and I'm doing that, and I'm going on 26 now, and I got a lot to do, and I had this. And I said, son, let me ask you a question. When you was growing up, do you know that I had a lot to do? I had things that I wanted to do, but I knew I had responsibilities to you. So all that sacrifices that I did for what I had to do for my children was more important than anything that I wanted to do. So as I get older and you get older, you have to sacrifice for your parents. Them 3 or 4 days you go to the gym, sometimes you got to say, I'm only going to go 3. I'm going to go and chill with my dad the next day. See, it takes me out because when you go through your shit and you in your deepest and you in your darkest part of your life, you expect your parents to be there. You know, the sacrifice. You know, the topic. The topic is part of sacrificing. You're sacrificing time. You're sacrificing finances. You're sacrificing advice. You even sacrificing prayer. Sometimes, man, people just might need a prayer. I found myself at age 55. My little brother is a pastor. He came over the last night. And before that, he was telling me, you know, he was doing a lot of funerals. And I know they got to take a lot of, especially if there's people from your congregation that you already, you know, developed on some type of bond with. And I remember at my mom's funeral, he didn't get emotional at that. So like I told him, I said, you here? And I said, I knew you was coming. So the whole time I'm thinking, I said, when you get here, I'm going to pray for you. I said, because you're a pastor, you pray for everybody. I think it's time for me to pray for you, bro. And I prayed for him. You know, so at the end of the day, you sometimes sacrificing a prayer doesn't have to be, and certain things don't have to be put out there on the street of what you did. But when you sit back and a person blatantly don't even think about acknowledging it, or they have a come up and don't remember anything you've done for them.
They can't remember
nothing. They can't remember like they had a concussion and they just erased everything in their mind. No, that's not how. Sometimes, like I had a bull. Was it a bull? No, I had a bull, right? That when my coins was coining and my dollars was dollaring, I would look out.
Right.
And he knew that. But when he came up on his coins, he never once said, "Yo, Trim, I got a couple dollars for you." Never once said that. You know, like even in the comedy thing, you know, one of my manager was one of my, like a brother, like one of my best friends. That was my brother. And we still tight. But I text him, told him I was in somewhat of a bind, and he was like, all right, I got you. So that was almost 7-8 months ago. And that was in the double digits in dollars, $30. So at the end of the day, and he's making a career off of managing me. So now he has other people that he's managing because he managed me. I pulled you into, it's like the bull from Bad Boys that pulled all the group together to go rob the storage unit and get all the drugs. And then when he wanted to party with the two girls in that brick, the boy that he pulled in killed him.
Yeah. Hate when that happens.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you just need to walk around and just be like, you know what? It wasn't. Listen, I can get on this phone and I can talk about Son, but I'm gonna talk about Son in the way when we first met. We started doing comedy together. I wasn't driving, but Son was, and Son would go out of his way and make sure I would ride. That when we did it, if he had a show to do, he'll take me with him. Or if we had a show to do, we would go together. Son would book me on shows, and I would book him on shows. It wasn't just I would book him because he would book me. I would book him because he's funny. And at the same time, that's my brother. I'm going to look out for him. We start developing a bond through that. So at the end of the day, I cherish that more than anything because at the end of the day, you can't find thorough, loyal people.
It ain't
You know
easy.
what I mean?
It ain't easy.
It ain't easy to fuck at all. You know, and like I said, the ones that hurt the most that don't acknowledge is 9 times out of 10 is your family, your spouse, or your kids. Sometimes it might even be your mother.
Facts.
You know, might even be your parents or something like that, man. I mean, you know, it takes me out because, but one thing about it, I don't really let it. I don't let it get to me as much. I mean, the kid situation and the spouse thing, that would get to me. But I don't let. I try my best to understand what I try to dig deep into my faith. And this guy with this guy with all this wisdom had told me to start focusing on the positive things. Very intelligent person. Very, very highly. He should be a therapist.
You know what he should have told you? He should have told you that.
But,
He should have told you that positivity was a practice.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, and that's the whole thing about it. You know, I'm pretty sure. I think he did squeeze that in there while he was doing pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, everything like what you just said there, you ran down things that it doesn't always have to be about money. You can run down so many things that you can do for a person, but yet and still they won't acknowledge you. They won't acknowledge you at all, and you want the acknowledgement, but damn. Don't sit back and make it seem like you've done everything on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make it seem like you've done everything on your own. You can't do that. And then you walk around with your chest poked out. You know, I did this, I did that. And that happens in relationships, especially in relationships. When the female think that, like in marriages, men and women don't understand that when you get married, you do become one. And that's why, you know, this guy once said to me, his name was, I'm going to say his name because he was a funny guy, but he always, every time he would say some stupid stuff where he couldn't cook and shit like that, but he was a church going guy. And he said, you know, I'm proud to see that you get married because you do know as soon as you get married, God is going to bless you. He's going to bless y'all union. So when that blessing comes, it doesn't just bless you or her, it blesses y'all together because you honor what God wanted y'all to do. Mm-hmm. And that always sticks in my head. You know, it always sticks in my head. Because some people, you know, like in relationships, people don't think about it being a union where as though it's not what you do for you, it's not what you do for you, it's what y'all do for each other. If you get the house, you did that for the union. Mm-hmm. If you buy the furniture, if the other person buy the furniture and the refrigerator and get everything ready, you did that for the union.
That's the way it should be.
That's the way it should be. But everybody wants to separate. Well, I got the house and I'll get this and I did that. It's I. It's that we.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you have your downfalls because you want to assume responsibility of the things that you've done instead of realizing that it was for the betterment of the union. You know, and when people do that, you're itching for a hell of a downfall. You know, like I said, I always listen to my elders. My mom always said, Troy, you can't expect people to be like you. You said that to me, Troy, you can't expect people to be like you. And at age 55, I'm still trying to expect people to be like me. You know what I mean?
That's a long, tough road, my dude.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And you know, and that's the worst part of certain things about me that I'm not putting you on a pedestal, but to be like me is to just be respectful, humble, and understanding and forgiving. If you can't do that, but hey, what else? Well, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
That's not asking for much.
So check this out. In the chat, Marvina says, I've cooked many meals, made room at my table, um, fixed them a place to sleep, and cleaned them a car, and get the and got to work. Gave him a card for them to get to work. And she hasn't heard from them since she's been alone. So since her husband has passed, everybody that she helped out was certain people that she helped out. You know, she was clearly there for them, and they not there for her. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's some shit.
So what she's talking about, what I'm hearing is she's not asking for money back or anything like that, but it doesn't even sound like she's looking for an acknowledgement. But like, yo, check on me.
Hey,
make sure I'm good. But this is all about, this is what being there for somebody is. You know what I mean? Like, how can you say you got my back when I turn behind me and I don't see nobody at my back?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Not the good people. My enemy's definitely at my back, trying to get me, hit me from behind. So yeah, like, yeah, check on them. You know what I mean? Like, say what's up. Sometimes I think people get caught up in, I think that sometimes people get caught up into thinking that they gotta bring something in order to look out for somebody. Like, like you're not going to a baby shower or a birthday party. Call to see if you ain't heard from me in a while. Make sure I'm all right. How you know I ain't in the crib somewhere decomposing? Unfortunately, I've had the experience of walking into those kind of situations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, you never know. You never know. Oh, booty hunter.
That's like somewhat of a. That's almost the same way. I just told my daughters that, and I told my sons that. I said, y'all would sit back. Do y'all realize? Y'all can't say that you don't. Y'all, well, Dad. Every time we talk, you seem down. I said, well, if y'all popped up and we sat down, we just enjoyed each other's company, maybe we can change the narrative of me talking about other things and start talking about some things about us. But when you're not around and none of y'all makes a decision to pop up on your dad or even give a phone call, then you have an understanding that when we talk, it's not going to be a conversation of, hey, what's going on? How you doing? What's going on? What you been up to?
Right.
You can't. So you want me to be uplifting to something I can't be uplifted about because y'all can pop up with your mother, but you can't pop up with your father.
Mm-hmm.
And your dad ain't. I'm not asking you for $1. I'm not asking you for something to eat. I just said time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but I still stand on. There's so many different ways to be there for somebody.
Yeah, it is. There's so many different ways. But that phone, like what you just said up here about Marvina, a damn phone call would be suffice for her.
Well, to add on to that, what I'm saying is, it's okay to ask a person what they need.
Yeah, it is.
That's okay. Shit. Like, I remember one time when my grandfather was alive. He lived out there near Chichester. He lived in this little ass area out in Delaware County called Twin Oaks. But it was part of Chichester, which was part of sort of like Marcus Hook. But anyway, so, I would pop up, just go see my granddad. I always loved him. And he lived on top of this hill, and you had to go through all of this shit, to get up to his crib. So sometimes, like over the years, the brush was so much that the trail of the road was hard to get up there. It was hard to get up there and out. And I had a brand new truck, so I would just park my truck at the bottom of the hill and walk up. You know what I'm saying? Walk past all his dogs and shit. And I pop up on my grandpa. He'd be like, hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And I remember one time he was like, I need some orange juice. You think you can give me some orange juice? I was like, that's what you want, Granddad? He said, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, he had never asked for shit before. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, I'll be right back. Went down to the gas station, got him some orange juice. I brought him back orange juice. You'd have thought I brought him back to Hope Diamond. You know what I mean? I thought my grandpa was gonna cry. I was like, it's orange juice. I ain't squeeze it. You know what I mean? Got it from the store. But
I ain't squeeze it.
but that's what he needed. That's what he needed. He had everything he had everything he needed. He needed some orange juice. Gave him some orange juice. He probably ate them neck bones and whatever else he had with it. He could cook pretty good. Them old ass aluminum pots he used to cook in and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Hold up, let me just say something to Booty Hunter. First of all, we already know you are Booty Hunter for men booty. You punk bastard. Shut your mouth, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. This dude called himself a booty hunter and trying to, with a name like Booty Hunter, you need sexual pleasure, but you need attention bad as shit. So let me help him out. Let me give him the attention that he deserves. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? This is part of being there for you. I'm about to be there for you. I'm about to be there for you, dickhead. I'll be there. I'll be there. Just look over your shoulder, bitch. Oh. So Jason said,
you gonna give yourself a name called Booty Hunter?
I mean, come on, man.
What's wrong with you, bro?
Jason said some people have a mindset that you're only as good as the last 15 minutes. It's the what have you done for me lately attitude, and they never seem to recall the stuff that you've done for them. And that's a fact. That's
I call that the Janet Jackson syndrome.
What have you done for me lately?
Jason, you are completely on point with that, because I always say that. People don't remember. It takes me out because when you're in your faith, they always say, when you get to heaven, God got a book of life for you. But here on earth, people don't remember the book of life. They remember Monday.
I don't know.
They just remember Monday. They remember the day to day. They don't remember years.
It's just a sad state of affairs, man. It really is. It's a sad state of affairs because, okay, so you can only remember the last 15 minutes of what somebody has done for you. But how many minutes can you remember that you've reciprocated or done anything proactively for anybody else? Does that go in 15 minutes? I mean, because people seem to remember everything that they've done for you, but their memory gets awfully Alzheimer's like when it comes time to remember the things that you've done for them. But this is not everybody. And even with the selfishness that may apply to so many people that we may be talking about directly and indirectly, there's still somebody that they're going to be there for and somebody that's going to be there for them. Because when you're there for somebody, it's never contingent upon whether they return the favor or not. It's not even contingent upon whether they whether they acknowledge it or not. You're still going to be there for somebody because that's what you want to do. But it would be awfully nice if somebody could at least, be there for you in your time of need, because we all have a time of need. We all have that. That's not something that's that's not something that's escapable by most of us. But all right, man, 4:00, let's get the fuck on about it.
Yeah, that's the truth, bro. But I'm glad I was able to call in and like this. Sometimes this bed just curls me up in a cocoon state.
Man, I understand. I understand. I totally get it.
And one thing, before we hang up, I want to commend you at how you go to work and then you come home and for all these years to be doing this show, bro.
Man, listen.
I want to commend you on that, bro.
That's why when they put me out of the algorithm, that's why I be so fucking pissed. Like, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit. But it is what it is. It is what it is. This thing goes in peaks and valleys and shit like that. You got to roll with the punches. Until I learn the key of how to unlock this shit. And I'm still looking. All right.
I'm just saying this, Jason. Have a good night, everybody in the chat. Have a good night, Marvina. Well, we your family now. So we check on you every night when you talk to when we on the chat. Y'all have a blessed day. Be careful. Be safe.
Facts.
Y'all, we all family, man. Much love, son. I'm gonna bust it up with you sometime during the day.
Without a doubt.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
All right, fam.
All right. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious October 2nd, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box, Philly Don Diddy Yamin. And also Vilma Goncalves. I'm sorry, Goncalves. I'm sure that I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. This is probably French. Okay. All right. And Don Page, Dennis Thompson, Patricia Robinson, Patrice So Love Council. And last but not least, my girl, go get a Charisse Perot. Well, I guess that says Parrot because it's two T's. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious October 2nd, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn, rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I believe that October 2nd, 1995 was when O.J. Simpson was acquitted of double murder. I believe that was 30 years ago. I believe. Let me see. What was the date that O.J. Simpson was acquitted of double murder? October 3rd. So it's today. O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman on October 3rd, 1995. The verdict in the trial of the century was delivered after less than 4 hours of jury deliberation, with Simpson found not guilty on both counts of murder. Well, I thought it was the second, but it was the third. So 30 years ago, the trial of the century of the 20th century, that's when OJ was acquitted of murder. Now, the reason I bring that up is because, number one, that's a very historical event. And number two, OJ would have never been able to beat that case if his lawyers and other supporters weren't there for him. He would have never been able to beat that. Now, a lot of people believe that he was guilty. And if you don't understand how the law works, or how cutting up two people and trying to find clothing that's not blood soaked is done, then yeah, I can see why you would think that he did it. You may have been watching too many. Bitch, I got you. You may have been watching too many cartoons or movies or whatever, because on Matlock, nobody ever got bloody when they killed somebody on Matlock. But in real life, cutting up two people, man, you ain't getting rid of those bloody. It would have took him forever to clean up that trail of blood. Real shit. Had his lawyers not been there for him, had they sold him down the river, had the professional witnesses not been there for him. Jason said he was innocent even if he was guilty. He was not. He may have known something about it, but he ain't do it. There's no way, man. I don't know if anybody in here has ever cut themselves or has been in a situation where they were bleeding, where you were bleeding bad. That shit be all over your shoes. That shit be all, you be fucked up. And blood ain't easy that's not an easy stain to wash out. Not easy at all. But for two people, one that you damn near decapitated, he would have never been able to make it on that plane without leaving a trail of evidence behind that was undeniable. No fucking way. And Mark Furman understood that. That's why he planted that evidence. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I pray that each and every one of y'all have somebody that's there for you, and that you have the compassion and the love in your heart to be there for somebody else in whatever way that's right. So that covers a lot. And that's saying a lot. Yo, before y'all get out of here, man, hit that like button. I'd appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Share the show, subscribe to the channel, do whatever we got to do to grow this community. Leaps and bounds. Everything is going to be all right. See y'all tomorrow night. Music show tomorrow night, Friday night. Y'all know how we do. Music show tomorrow night. Y'all know how we do. I don't know what this. Let me see. Did I don't remember. Well, shit. Let me see. Do I know? Nope, not yet. Not yet. But it's going to be you can bet your last money it's going to be a Stone Gas, honey. Brown Eyes Dunlap, what you doing up? Oh, shit. She says, I wish I had someone now, because when I'm alone, when I'm sad thinking about my son, blessings to you. I wish you the extreme comfort, because I can't imagine being in the position that you're in right now. And I'm so sorry about what happened, and I'm so sorry that you have to be in this position. So God bless you, Emily. All right, y'all. We out. Holla.